Hey everybody, welcome back to D&J's Epic Quest. Just Derek here tonight. A stormy Wednesday night in southern Minnesota. I've had tornado warnings. I went out and looked for it. Didn't see it even though there was supposed to be one in town in a flash flood warning until like 3 in the morning. So it's about 10 o'clock now. Just gonna record this before I go to bed for you. But tonight I am here to talk to you about a book that I've just recently finished. The War at World's End, Book 3 of the Union of Man series. I've really loved all three of these books so far, and I've kind of wondered as I finished the second, read the third, if there was going to be like a sophomore slump in the second or any type of dip in the third, and there just has not been. I think each one has been better than the last, and they've just all kind of built upon each other so far. So I'm excited to start book 4. I'll probably do that tomorrow. And yeah, I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite cover, but I think the cover on this book might be my favorite one here. But let me tell you about this book here. The blurb on the back. The mountains that divide Narratheria from the west are shrouded in secrecy. The islanders must cross over them to find something to even the advantage their enemy always has. A second war starts. It will be a hateful battle to triumph that snares civilians from all parts. The cost of victory will be immense, and the islanders consider releasing an evil worse than the one they left behind in a desperate attempt to win. So that kind of tells you what the book is about. In my Goodreads review of the book, I had said something to the effect that there was a part that didn't really make sense to me, and I wasn't sure if maybe it was just due to the fact that this book was not like a finalized copy. So I went back and found that part, and I just wanted to, I guess, address that first. But it was chapter 28 with Catherine, Jared, and Aaron. And when I read that part of the book, like I read it like multiple times, like 3, 4 times, and I just like couldn't wrap my head around it. Like it didn't make sense to me at the time. So um, when I started putting my notes together for this episode, I found it, went back and looked for it to figure out where it was, and I reread it, and like it made sense to me this time. So I'm not sure what was up with me at that time, like why it just didn't click and make sense. So I am sorry about that, but I just wanted to clear that up for you. The Islanders, they make it back to Narratheria, and they do what I was hoping that they would do, and they cross the mountains that Narain says no one can cross. Narain is a character that we met in the second book. He carries over into this third one, and he's got guards guarding these mountains so his people don't cross them. But we do end up crossing them, and it doesn't come without its own perils and dangers. And they do find a new continent on the other side, or the continuation of the continent that they were on. But again, it's kind of a matter of how will they be welcomed and treated, friend, foe, somewhere in between. You're just gonna have to pick up the book and read it. Uh, so eventually the Islanders, they do return to the island and to the plains and try to retake their home, and what they find along the way horrifies them as they march to World's End, where another massive battle takes place. It's a pretty vague overview of the book, and I want to keep it that way just for sake of spoilers. I don't want to spoil anything for you. These books, like when I read them, like I plowed through them. Like I would read like half the book in a sitting. Like, I mean, compared to some other books, like the font is quite a bit bigger. Again, like it's not a knock on the book, like it's just how it is. But it makes for quick reading for me, for somebody who's not an exceptionally fast reader. I tore through these books. And the other side of that coin is that like I've just really enjoyed reading all these books. I don't want to put them down. I just want to keep going and finding out what's next. But one of my favorite things with this series overall has been the exploration of just the world. And I can't remember reading a book series where like that spans an entire world like this. We've seen pretty much every corner of the world. There's one place I can think of that maybe that we haven't really directly been, but we've talked about. And I get really excited for like that type of stuff, especially when it's like a book series or a world that I'm really invested into. Like I think of like when I was in middle school and high school reading The Wheel of Time, and like I would open whichever book cover I was on and look at the map and just look at all the different countries on it and just think, oh, cool. I wonder if we're going to go there. I wonder what we'll see there, what I'll learn, and that type of thing. And while these first three books all share the same map, I was a little frustrated, like not getting a world map. I was just really excited that like we got to explore these new places. And I know in book four there is a new map of the whole world, and I've looked at it and I love it. Um, but yeah, I just really like the fact that like I feel like an explorer reading this, just traveling the world with these characters, like discovering new places that they didn't think existed, that like it's a death sentence to go there. And I think AM, you do a really good job of making each area feel distinct and like its own place. And I like how different characters from these different places and areas interact with one another. It just makes it feel real and well-rounded to me. Grounded, rounded, same thing. The battles in the last two books, they've been massive in scale. Like, especially I mean, I guess even in the second book and this book, the battles are fairly similar. They take place in the same place. And I kind of imagine like Pelennor Fields big, like Lord of the Rings big. Like, these are massive armies fighting each other. And AM, again, does a really good job, an excellent job just giving you an overview of the battle, giving you kind of that bird's eye view of it, where you don't really get lost focusing on one area of the battle too much. You zoom in into an area, see what's going on, you kind of back out, shift to another spot. And I like that. It doesn't just solely focus on one group. Again, AM's writing I've really enjoyed in this series. It's easy to follow, it's descriptive, it paints a clear, concise picture for you, which is I think what anybody wants. And sometimes, different readers, they just connect differently with different books. This series has really worked for me quite well. I've enjoyed it a lot. And the series, it covers a lot of ground and water, if you want to let me make a little pun there, as you traverse oceans. But the traveling, it never feels like clunky in the book series. You don't spend each day, on a ship. It's day 32 crossing this ocean. When are we going to see land? Nothing like that. Like, the time passes, you get to where you're going, and things just move on. And so I appreciate that. It helps the story move well, and it just keeps things flowing and going. Uh, it does seem a little formulaic, and it does follow similar beats as to the second book. And again, that's not something that I think is bad. It worked in that last book really well. When I was progressing through this book, like, I thought I had the story figured out. I thought I knew what was going to happen. And it turns out I didn't. I was way wrong. So where I thought this book was going to be predictable, it turned me on my head, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I would give this book a solid 4 stars. It was really good. I'm excited to continue to see where things go with this story. With what's gone on, I've kind of got an idea what I think what's going to happen. And again, as I went through this book, I had that feeling too, and I was wrong. So I don't know what's going to happen for sure. Book four, The Three Leaders. That is what I will be reading next. Again, probably going to start that tomorrow. So, Justin, drop some music in here for a second or two. I'm going to go a little deeper. Going to take a page out of my friend Jim's playbook here, and dig a little deeper into some more spoiler territory. So if you haven't read the book, now's a good place to stop. Give us a like, subscribe, help us out, all that good stuff. If you have read the book, hang out for another minute or two, and I'll have a few more things here. So, once we cross the mountains, we find the Freelands of the West, or what on the other, or that's what's on the other side from Neretheria. I felt like it was kind of like a mix of like ancient Rome and the United States. They've got like this political system that kind of reminds me of the Roman Empire, but the people seem to kind of have the attitude of Americans, and maybe that's just like me being an American reading that. I don't know. But they just seem to be kind of full of themselves, think they're the best. And I enjoyed reading that, especially like when our characters they cross the mountains and they get captured by the people of the Freelands. They're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. You came over from Neretheria. Let's get you integrated. Let's get you into society here, proper society. And it was just kind of fun. And I liked that quite a bit. But yeah, just the history. There's so many cool things. Like we get some big statues and we get the backstory on them. I've just enjoyed that. That's kind of one thing I've liked so far is any question that I've had that's come up in this series as I've read it, I think has gotten answered, or I've gotten answers. I haven't been left wanting on that, and sometimes it's good to leave things unanswered, but the way this is written, I'm glad I'm getting the answers. Um, Next, we've got Shildarth and his discovery of this iridium. I guess I kind of imagine as like a scepter, but it appears to be some sort of, I guess, like, for lack of a better term, a nuclear weapon. It's like controls or wields fire. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but it's definitely a game changer as far as this story goes. I'm not going to quite go full spoil on what it's used for, what happens. Um, you'll just have to read that and find out. And I also believe what we have on the last cover of, or the cover of the last book, rather, is Scaris's mask, which is it's hard to say he or it is a character, but it's something that we're introduced to. And I think that's what's on the cover of the last book. See how that plays out when I get there. But, anyways, that's all I've got for you. Again, check out this series, The Union of Man. 5 books. They are all out. I've read 3, gonna be starting 4 here soon. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.